Right. Welcome, everyone. We're here for another afternoon malding session, or preferably we could call it hacking. What do you think about going for OSCP after CRTO? Is there any benefit? Yeah, absolutely there is. Like, OSCP and CRTO are both valuable certs that you'll learn a lot from. It'd be kind of weird to go to do CRTO first, in my opinion. But that's not to say you can't. Like, you can, I just don't recommend it. How are you feeling? I'm slowly climbing out of it. Today I just feel really tired and fatigued for some reason. I don't really know why. I think I'm just trying to avoid and procrastinate work, which it's not helping me out finishing my reporting and so on very much. But I'm going to have to go right back to reporting after after I finish this stream because I got a deadline to meet tonight. How useful is it to learn how to read and code assembly? Very. Like, if you think about it, any code becomes open source code if you can read and code in assembly. Damn, dude, you sound great. How's the cough? I definitely improved from the way my voice was a couple days ago. That went away mostly after a good night's rest that night.
Hope you're doing all right.
I'm doing all right, Doc Hop. Thank you very much. I wore your shirt. I know what the shell kind of has fallen by the wayside, which I'm sorry to hear about. But I did wear your shirt at DEF CON once, just for memory's sake. Is Python enough for pen testers? What do you mean by enough? Define enough. Like, for pen tester, I mean, I would say if for just being a pen tester, yeah, probably Python is. I mean, I don't know what you mean by enough. Enough is a weird way to put it. Python will absolutely be helpful, but you should be open to learning and understanding other languages. You need to at least have a... You need to... New episode. Oh, sweet. What the Shell is back. That's great. Everyone give Doc Hobb a follow. His podcast, What the Shell, is excellent. Do recommend that. Like, you should have a passing familiarity with a lot of languages, Doc Hobb. Okay? Or not Doc Hobb. Atomic Samurai. You should be willing to learn other languages as well. Like, I don't know what you mean by enough. That's a weird way to put it. What's a good thing to learn when it comes to making a custom packer for learning better evasion? Probably C#, I guess. You can use literally anything for a packer, my dude. Literally anything for a packer. It depends on what the packer is trying to do, though. Like, if you're trying to use it as a shellcode runner, then you'll probably have to incorporate some other language. I mean, you can technically run shellcode with Python. It's just a little bit sporting. I wonder how the evasion would be on that. Like, making a shellcode runner in Python, calling the Windows API, and then loading it into, like, a PiInstaller executable. I wonder how evasive that would be. I haven't tried it, but I'm sure that... I know that Python does have ways to call the Windows API using the underlying C that it's written in. Found a great site a few days ago, pwn.college. What is this? Education platform for students to learn about and practice core cybersecurity concepts in a hands-on fashion. It is designed to take a white belt to becoming a blue belt, able to approach simple CTFs in war games. Okay, that sounds like a good... That sounds good. That sounds pretty good. Sounds great. More power to you. Give it a shot. Let me know. Report back. Let me know how it goes. The issue with PiInstaller is that it's thick. I mean, that's true. I mean, that's true for a lot of binaries these days. You're using Go. You're using Rust. Rust binaries aren't as thick as Go binaries. Not by a long shot, but they're still big. And big sometimes works in your favor, as we've discussed. As far as AV evasion is concerned, big sometimes works in your favor. Depending on your method of delivery. The only problem with, usually the only problem with a thick binary is what method of delivery you're going with. Teaching shellcode? What do you mean by teaching shellcode? I mean, it can't hurt you to know a little bit of assembly. Don't be afraid of assembly, okay? Let me upload my 35 megabytes file, super thick. Listen, everyone's got huge hard drives these days. 35 megabytes is nothing on the average hard drive. Like, yeah, it's nice to have your binary be smaller, but AV has a harder time scanning larger binaries. What is the best first language to learn to be a pen tester? Python. I mean, everyone's going to have a different thought on that. Everyone is going to have a different idea on what the best first language is to learn. I would say Python is as fine a place to start as any, personally. All right, so Doc Hobb with 24 months. Again, it's glad to see you back in a better mental state. It's glad to see you back on the grindstone. Good to see you. I'll check out your podcast at the next available opportunity. Comic Sam, thanks for the follow. The Cthulhu fought to you, my friend. I have a super thick AV evasion cheese payload for a basic rev shell. It's so pointless, but I think it's a funny trick. I think it's fine. Again, if it works, it's not a funny trick. If lots of windows as targets, would PowerShell be important as well? It can't possibly hurt you. I do recommend familiarizing yourself with a .NET language, whether it be Python or C#. They're both very similar. Have you updated the Necronomicon? I have updated it. I just have not posted it on Patreon yet. Mostly because I'm still trying to find new things to add to it. I'm trying to reorganize it and find new things to add to it and stuff like that. There is I know I promised you guys an update to the Necronomicon 2 days ago. And I did. I'm just not quite. I don't think it's ready for a republish just yet. I'm getting there. I promise. It's coming very soon. I just need to add a few more things, move a couple more things around. I'm trying to organize it in a better way. The Necronomicon's gotten very large, so I keep trying to like reorganize it. I wish you could do the no OSCP labs OffSec released. I mean, yeah, I wish I could too. You have to ask OffSec about that. All right, fellas. So what are we doing today? Today we're gonna be trying a new kind of stream. We're gonna be we're still sitting down. I'm feeling really tired and weird today. I'm still climbing out of COVID, dude. I want to feel normal again. I haven't felt normal in 2 weeks, and it's killing me inside, dude. I don't feel normal. I don't feel fine. I don't have like any symptoms left. It's like I just feel drained all the time, and I don't really know why. I need to get back in the gym, but I'm having a really hard time with that too. I don't know. It's frustrating. Maybe the movie will help tomorrow. The cough is still around too. And the sinus issues. I'm still sniffing a lot. Hope you get rid of it soon. It's going away little by little. It's just taking a really long period of time. So today we're going to try something new. We're not going to really start out by hacking any boxes today. Today we're going to be doing a semi-deep dive into CrackMapExec. Really, we're going to be doing a rate my tool today. We're going to be rating and evaluating the tool, which you guys hopefully at this time have seen me use quite a few times. CrackMapExec. At this point, I would call CrackMapExec as essential a tool as any for a penetration tester, at least if you're doing internal penetration tests at the very least. I deeply recommend a familiarity with CrackMapExec, and I'm going to be introducing you to it today. And mostly we're doing CrackMapExec on Newbie Tuesday, mostly because CrackMapExec is particularly useful for the OSCP. I have not taken the OSCP exam with the Active Directory changes. When I took my OSCP, it was years ago, long before the Active Directory changes. So I can't retake the cert just to take the Active Directory portion, but people who have taken the Active Directory portion have informed me of what it entails, and they also informed me that they've informed me at a basic general level what it entails, not like specifics. But they've also told me that the entire thing can be done with CrackMapExec. If you are familiar enough with CrackMapExec, it will get you through the Active Directory portion of the OSCP. And if you get through the Active Directory portion, all you need is one more box, and you have that pass. So the AD part seems easy. That's what I've been told. Yes, I have seen people pass the OSCP exam without doing the Active Directory. I have seen that, but they've made it very difficult to do so. They've made it as difficult as reasonably. They really want you to embrace the Active Directory stuff. You can pass the exam without doing the Active Directory stuff, but it's not necessarily the right way that I would recommend it. Mr. Intrusionist, thanks for the first time Prime, my friend. Welcome to the All Has Red team.
A hunter must hunt.
I don't know anyone who's taken it since they added AD. I mean, I know a lot of people, so I do know some people who have taken it, and I coach a lot of people in taking it, so I get a lot of information just sort of by osmosis. But no one has given me specific information. They just tell me in a general sense what kind of stuff is expected. And it's all stuff that's in the course, by the way. The Active Directory portion does not expect you to do anything that is not taught in the course. So if you at least learn the Active Directory stuff that is taught in the course, you're going to be good. You're going to be fine. Can you say your favorite pen testing certs in order basic to perfect? Like, I don't know. There's so many certs, and I have a comparatively few of them. I have OSCP, I have OSCE, the old OSCE. I have OSWE. I've taken the, I want to take the OSEP exam, I think, but I've never gotten around to asking for it. I got too much going on. I've taken the CRTO and the CRTO2. Both of those are very good. But there's way more than just that. I've never taken any eLearn security certs, for instance. And I really should. I really want to take the eLearn Pen Testing Extreme course. I just never have. Compromising one host and AD is about as real-world practical as you can get. I've heard that it's quite realistic, yeah. I'm scared to schedule CRTO2 exam. Isn't that one being retired? What being retired? Maticus Maximus with the 29 months. Welcome in. I refuse to give you more attention than is required by your sub, though. I refuse. I decline. So let me go ahead and start up my lab here so that I can get started up. Regrettably, my lab is built in virtual machines in VirtualBox, and it will shut itself down. All of the lab boxes will shut themselves down after an hour, because that's what Windows forces them to do with these these free trial ISOs, these unlicensed trial versions. Do real-world pen testers always have to do PrivEsc? What do you mean by that? Like, it depends. What kind of assessment are we talking about? But, yeah, PrivEsc is something you should be familiar with. It seems you have lost some weight. Dude, I've been sick. I've been sick, and I feel miserable, like, basically all the time. Like, there's a reason that I haven't been streaming as much. It's just, climbing out of COVID has just been a gargantuan pain in the ass. Like, it really took a lot out of me this time. Last time COVID didn't suck nearly this much. The eLearn Extreme Cert is being retired, so you missed that chance? Oh, I don't really care. I mean, I meant to take it, but it's not really a big deal. I only wanted to take it so that I'd have some experience with eLearn certs. Because people constantly ask me about eLearn certs, and I have not taken one to know.
Hello
so.
to the best hacking community.
Anonymous Alcoholic, thanks for the 2 months, my friend. Welcome back to the All Has Red team. I don't know if it's the best hacking community, but it's mine, and that's enough. Is this the same camera view coworkers and customers see? No, they see a different angle because it comes from my laptop, which is off to my left. Mortimus54, thanks for the 6 months. Welcome back to the All Has Red team, my friend. Jackson with the 4, welcome back. But similar? I mean, it's in the same room, so it's similar in that regard.
A hunter must hunt.
I mean, I just need more time to take certs. Like, right now I need to finish my course up, and I just haven't gotten there yet. All right. Do people often reach out for guidance? Yeah, all the time. I encourage it. I'm not trying to dissuade people from reaching out for guidance. Okay, let me open up the Necronomicon, or open up my lab notes, at least, so that I know the credentials that we'll be working with here. This is a lab that I built, so we're not going to be hacking anything. We're not going to be hacking anything I don't fully control. In this particular case, this is an Active Directory network that I built, and we're just going to be using it as an example to demonstrate CrackMapExec's functionality. Okay. All right. I have frequently posted questions in Discord. Al doesn't always answer, but someone... Yeah, sometimes I need to be better at responding in the Discord. I have been bad at responding in all Discords. I've just been... It's been a bad time for me recently. I'm trying to be better at responding in my Discord. But I'm still not going to see all questions, especially if I'm not tagged. So, if you tag me, I usually will respond. You can't... I mean, you're not going to go wrong with a super... You're not going to go wrong with most certs out there. You're going to learn... Every cert is going to... You're going to learn something. The question is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth your money and time? And I can't always speak to that. I can say that the OSCP is getting more expensive, but it's still the best. It looks the best on the resume. That's for sure. As far as bang for your buck is concerned, I think CRTO is one of the best bang for your buck out there. All right, let's switch over to the box. I started learning Legolo NG for OSCP. It seems a lot easier to use versus Chisel. I'm not familiar with that. Maybe we can do another Rate My Tool on that one. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's a tunneling tool since you compared it to Chisel. CRTO is, again, as far as bang for your buck is concerned, like what you're getting for your money, CRTO, as for red teamers, is very hard to match. That is a dirt cheap certification for what you're getting for it. Okay. So let's go ahead and upgrade CrackMapExec. Make sure that we have the most recent version. So CrackMapExec has quite a few dependencies. Has a lot of dependencies. If you go on the wiki, CrackMapExec will recommend that you run it in a Python virtual environment or using Poetry, for example, or pipx. That's fine. It also comes installed by default on Kali, so you can use that as well. That's what we're going to be using today. You can use it in a Python virtual environment if you choose. That will take care of all of its very specific dependencies. What pen testing cert do you prefer other than OSCP? It depends. I've heard PNPT is fine, but PNPT is a replacement for OSCP. Like, it's an alternative to OSCP. Like, people always wonder, people always put OSCP on a pedestal as if it's something super hard. It's not. It's a beginner cert. Okay? If you want to take OSCP, just take OSCP. It's designed for people with no experience. You don't have to take 50 other certs to be ready to take OSCP, okay? Why is it... Is it just doing CrackMapExec? Why is this... Why is it updating fucking everything? Stop updating everything. Like, what? Why is it updating, 50,000 things? What is this? What the fuck is this? Like, why... I just told it to upgrade CrackMapExec, and it's upgrading everything. I don't want to sit here and update GCC. Can you just upgrade CrackMapExec? It's upgrading a million billion fucking things. Great. I did that. Like... Okay, what is going on? What are we doing? What is going on? Why is it freaking out on me? This is not my usual streaming box. This is the one that I just keep in reserve because it's connected to my internal lab. So it is not updated. I just want to update one fucking thing, and that's what I told it to fucking do. Okay. Alright. Stupid fucking idiots who designed this garbage. Oh, you have to put only upgrade. Like, just putting upgrade package name is not enough. Must be only upgrade. Perfect. Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you, people who designed it. Thank you. Very, very, very stupid. Very, very stupid. Fucking Christ. Alright, we're updating CrackMapExec finally, I think. Who knows? We'll probably end up upgrading Wireshark again. Okay. I think the most up-to-date version is 6.02 or something. Attack V? What? Okay. .4.0. Great. So it didn't even update the most recent version. Super. So that probably means that the Kali repos haven't been updated to the most recent version yet. I at least want to do the most recent version, so I guess we can probably install it in a virtual environment. Yeah, you can download the binary too. I guess that's probably what we'll do. There's a Docker file as well. Yeah, see, this is just 5.4.0. The most recent one is like 6 something. Isn't it? Am I wrong? This repository is deprecated. Then why is it here? Yeah, 6.0.1. Okay, this is the one that's being currently updated. So you got the wiki here, which I guess will open up for kicks and gigs. Let's just use the binary, I guess. They have a bundled binary. Or do they? Okay, I guess not. Let's come over here. Installation. For Unix. Okay, so we can just do, let's just do pipx. When I tried poetry one time, and it just did not work, and I just never want to use it again because of that. So... Okay, let's see if we have pipx here. Poetry sucks. I just haven't had good... I have not had good experiences with poetry. I don't trust it. But poetry is another option for you if you like pain, I guess. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Let's do sudo chown. Okay. So then it should just be pipx install dot. Yeah. Pipx install dot. Okay. This will probably fuck up my current installation of CrackMapExec, but... Or at least it'll fuck up the binary. Or my path. It'll fuck up my path, to be clear. Not the binary. It'll fuck up my path, probably. But we'll see. It'd probably be easier if I just used pipenv, but it's too late now. We're committing to it. Will this upgrade all of CME? No, it's going to install it in a pipx virtual environment. We'll see what it does. It's probably going to mess up my path, but I can fix a path. We'll see what my path ends up pointing to later. If I wanted to be a little bit clearer, I could have just specified that it was... I can always remove CrackMapExec with pipx. Pipx installs it in a virtual environment, so... Yeah, see, it already had these binaries in my path, but it just updated them, it looks like. CrackMapExec, attack H, and let's see. We still have the shitty one. Okay, so if I run CME, it looks like it did not replace... It looks like it did not replace the old binaries. No, it looks like it did not replace the old binaries. So now we have CME. So what it did was create CME for me. That is installed. So we'll just use CME. You can use CME or CrackMapExec as an alias. That's fine. But this is the most up-to-date version. We'll just use CME here today. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Okay. So CrackMapExec does recommend that you install it in a virtual environment because it has a ton of dependencies. So that's what we've done here. We've installed it using PiInstaller. We'll just do CME. Hi, Mike Sec. Good to see you. Okay, so CME. If we look at if we just do tac H as we've just done, we see that codename Bane 6.0.1. So we can see that there are some generalized options. Like you can put it in debug mode so that it'll print a stack trace. It'll print its information as usually you only use this if you're having issues with it. Tac version apparently does work, even though it didn't work for me before. Okay, well, maybe it works with this newest version. And you can specify the number of threads you want it to use, like with, like for example, with password spraying. Yeah. So we have a new protocol here, VNC. I'm pretty sure the old version does not have that. And we could check the old version by using the alias CrackMapExec on my system. Yeah. So this one only has SSH, FTP, RDP, MSSQL, LDAP, SMB, and WinRM, which is as I know it. But if we go back to CME TAC H, we can see they've added VNC to that roster. So VNC, if you don't know, is another remote desktop tool. So they've added the ability to like password spray VNC services and stuff like that. Hey Pharma, good to see you. I'm still recovering, but I'm slowly coming back. Thanks for the 16, my man. Welcome back. The worst AFK, thanks for the follow. Only works against Windows AD? No, that's not true. Do you see SSH on here? It can brute force and password spray SSH too. As well as FTP, which can be on Linux. It's meant to be used in internal networks. It's meant to be used as a post-exploitation tool when you have credentials usually. Okay, so you can see it. It's good for interacting with LDAP, like for Bloodhound purposes. SMB can be used for enumerating shares, as you've seen it on stream. Enumerating shares. My fucking headset just turned off for no reason. Okay. Enumerating shares, password spraying, brute forcing, WinRM, password spraying, brute forcing. Basically, you can password spray and brute force all of these and execute commands through many of them. You can execute commands through SMB, through WinRM, through MSSQL, through SSH. I'm not sure about RDP and VNC. We can take a look at that, though. So, to use CrackMapExec, the first option that you include is what protocol you want it to go over. So we can start by just using the SMB protocol and just targeting my domain controller, which is 10.10.10.2. And we can see newer version. Okay, running on old. Optionally save the old DB. Okay, so do I want to keep the old data? I'll just do this. I'll just keep the old data just in case. You never know. Okay. And then we just delete this. See, this is helpful. This is what I like to see. I already knew what the problem was when it errored. The error is that I have a different version of CME installed on the system, and this is an up-to-date version of CME. So let's run CrackMapExec again, and it should generate its own database again. It'll generate a database on first run. So there we go. Why use CP? We can just move instead. True, we could have done that as well. Is Star doing well? Yeah, she's fine. She was in here earlier. I don't know where she went. She's probably napping somewhere. So you can see that we reached out. We did SMB to 10.10.10.2. You can see that the net BIOS name of the machine is Innsmouth DC, which is what I called it. You can see what build it is. It is Windows Server 2019. Or no, it's 2022. It's Windows Server 2022, 64-bit. You can see, again, its NetBIOS name is InsmithDC. It's part of the domain insmithnet.local. SMB signing is turned on. And SMBv1 is disabled. This is pretty common for what you'll see with domain controllers. Well, the most uncommon thing is that how up-to-date it is. Usually, I don't see Windows Server 2022 on networks yet. It's just not common. I'll usually see Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2016. Those older versions are much more common. So that's the very basic point. What we've told CrackMapExec. Yeah, SMBv1 is enabled on pretty much standard networks. It's pretty common for me to see SMBv1. If you see SMBv1, what is your first thought? Two words. Yeah, Eternal Blue. Your first thought if you see SMBv1 should be to try Eternal Blue. Okay? Eternal Blue is an SMBv1 exploit. So it's worth trying Eternal Blue on networks where you see SMBv1 enabled. Okay? How do we know if SMB signing is enforced? You can see it right here. CrackMapExec will tell you right here. Another way to tell is if you do SMB client 10.10.10.2 client protection off. Does it want me to do credentials, maybe? Or does it want me to specify a share? We can just do $, I guess. Tree connect failed, NT status access denied. We could try doing it with actual credentials. So we'll try the domain admin credentials really quickly. Administrator. We might want to put the NetBIOS domain name, which is insmithnet. Insmithnet/administrator. And then the password is... What did I make the password? Oh, there it is. There we go. Okay. So, interesting. It usually has... Is it the other SMB client that does it? It might be a setting. Maybe I made it negotiable. Usually it'll tell you if it doesn't let you. Usually it will tell you if you set client protection to off, and SMB signing is enforced. SMB client will tell you here, but I don't know if maybe it's the other SMB client. No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think I had it right. Can I do verbose output, maybe? Maybe can I do verbose output with lowercase v, I wonder? This is supposed to be doing CrackMapExec, and now I'm doing SMB client. So I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with this. Let's just try... Tac V. Nope, it doesn't have a verbose option. Maybe debug std out, maybe? Damn it. It's proving me wrong here. What is debug level? Like, what? 3? I don't know what debug level is. Oh, okay. It's asking for a password. Huh. I thought this was more obvious. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna get stuck down this fucking rabbit hole. Anyway, CrackMapExec tells you if SMB signing is if SMB signing is enabled. It tells you in the initial output. So you can see it there. Okay? So some other things, some basic things you can do with CrackMapExec is you can look for null sessions. You can do that with just by specifying a blank username and a blank password. And you can see that null sessions are enabled on my domain controller. Now, keep in mind, I didn't especially enable null sessions on my domain controller. That's just the default. This is why you'll often see null sessions enabled on domain controllers in real life, on real networks. Because it's just the default for it to allow null sessions like this. You can also try the guest account. Like that. And you get the account disabled. So the guest account is disabled in my particular case. I didn't disable it. It just is by default. Okay? So Nmap can also tell you about SMB signing, yes. So domain controllers will usually have SMB signing enforced. So I think this should be my first step when I face SMB. I agree. Yeah, that's why I do it on stream so much. Usually, if it's a Windows machine, the first thing you're going to see me doing is trying exactly these things. I'm going to reach out to it with CrackMapExec because it'll tell you some important information like the NetBIOS machine name. It'll tell you what the domain name is. It'll tell you if SMB signing is enabled. It'll tell you if SMB1 is enabled. All that good stuff. And then you can try for null sessions and you can try for the guest account. That's the first thing I would try. You can also do... You can specify these parameters will accept files. So, for example, if I wanted to try and brute force Robert Olmsted's account, okay? You could have a password. You could have a password file. So we can mcdir... Not mcdir. And let's just add some passwords here. Just password 123 summer 2023 exclamation point. And then the actual real password, which is seek the cheapest route. So, obviously, this isn't a common password. I'm just showing you that CrackMapExec will find the real password. Well, I'm just showing you that how the output looks if you get the right password. We can also do... it's called innsmouthnet.local, so we can just say the name of the we can just say the name of the town, Innsmouth. Using the company name as in your password sprays is recommended. So CrackMapExec. Let's do CME SMB 10.10.10.2. TAC U. Robert.Olmsted. A nice thing about CrackMapExec is that you don't have to put the domain name. Like, you don't have to put, like, the user principal name here with, like, innsmouthnet.local. You don't have to put this. CrackMapExec will just insert it itself when it's needed. Oh, I put CMD by accident. Thank you. God damn it. Okay, there we go. Robert Olmsted. Okay. And then you can put a file in here, which is a password file. Okay. Again, it's not going to use the... CrackMapExec will, before it runs, will see if there are any files in your... any files that match... Any file at paths that match its parameters. And will automatically know that this is a file. So we can just try that. And you'll see that it's going to try and brute force this for us. Yep, so it tried to brute force. Login failure. But seek the cheapest route turned out to be the correct password. You can see that the difference in output here. Does that make sense? So you can also do this with, you can also do this the other way around. So you can do it with users file. You can have a list of users, like one of the like if you have a list of users. Okay. Well, if you have a password, which we have a password at this point. So let's put the password in. Okay. We have a password. You can do what's called an RID brute force. You've seen me do this on stream quite a few times. And CrackMapExec can do this as well. Jobo Hack, thanks for the follow, my friend. So what this is going to do is, it's basically going to enumerate all the users and groups. On any standard network, this is going to be a very large output. But CrackMapExec will automatically has logs. Where is it storing its logs? If you have a lot of output, it'll usually tell you where it's storing its logs. I keep forgetting I'm not in tmux. Scroll up. Okay, how do we access its logs? Let's find that out right now. CME.conf file. This will log everything. Tac log will only log the current command, or both at the same time. So CME has a configuration file. I should show you guys that as well. So I think it's inside .cme in your home directory. Yeah. .cme in your home directory, and there's a CME.conf file in here. So if we cat CME.conf, you can see that you have a number of options in here. So one thing that I always changed is this. When I'm on a real network, I always have to remember to change the pwned label. Pwned is what CrackMapExec will label connections as if it detects that you are an administrator. The problem with pwned is that it just doesn't look professional in a report screenshot. So, a lot of my screenshots on internal networks will be of CrackMapExec. So you want to put something a little bit more professional there a lot of time. We could turn log mode to true. Okay. Ignore OPSEC. So I want to actually go through all of these and know what they do. This is a deep dive after all. Okay, so let's execute this and figure out where the logs are saved. Okay. If you extract, well, I'll show you the NTDS dump later. Okay, where are the logs stored? CME logs, full log. Oh, there was a log directory in there, wasn't it? How silly of me. Okay, so there was a log directory in the CME folder, yeah. I even saw it and it didn't register in my brain. So logs directory in here. I deeply recommend you do this on assessments. Okay? Deeply recommend that you do this on assessments. Okay? Log your commands. I log them multiple ways. I log using the script command. I log using CME logs. I log everything. You want that for reporting purposes. Okay? So it looks like these are the logs from this particular day. You can see that I've We've done a number of NTDS dumps using CrackMapExec. CrackMapExec will automatically log credentials. Like if you dump NTDS, it will log it for you. You can see I've dumped the NTDS of my own network quite a few times, and also a bunch of machines like Research, Offline, Haven. I don't remember which boxes these were, but yeah, something like that. So we can go into 2023 A29, and we can log 2023 29.log. There you go. So yeah, you can see this is the logs from our RID brute force. You can see the command that was executed, and you can see the output. Does that make sense? Again, logging is boring, okay? I know you guys are here to see me cracking shells and taking names, okay? But listen, on a real assessment, on a big boy real assessment, okay? Where we're not doing hack the box or bumming around on TryHackMe or VulnLab or whatever. Logs are everything, okay? When it comes time to write that report or the client has questions about something you did, your logs are going to be the answers, okay? If you don't log what you do, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer so much. I cannot recommend enough that you log every command in your terminal multiple ways. I do it multiple ways. I log with CrackMapExec, and I log every single command in my terminal using the script command. Okay? The bash script command is what I typically use to log my entire bash session. Okay? Are CME logs enabled by default, or do you have to enable it by yourself? You just saw me do it. I had to enable it. You can enable it in the CME CME.conf file by setting this value to true. It is false by default. Or you can log it by adding tac log to the end of your command. Those are your options. Okay? So if you want to log every command you execute with CrackMapExec, you set this to true. Okay? If you want to log just one command, you would do tac log. You can just specify a file name. Example log.txt. There you go. There's your output. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Again, it's never sexy talking about logs. Okay? No one likes to talk about logs. But trust me when I say that as a professional in this space, you want to log everything. Log every single thing. Okay? Every word in your terminal should be logged. Because when you have to do a report later, that log is what is going to be your lifeline. And God forbid if the client has questions, which they almost always do, your logs are going to contain the answers. Okay? You can't just take screenshots? Yeah, I take screenshots too. Yeah, you betcha. But sometimes I just forget to take a screenshot. Sometimes I'm screaming and memeing, okay, on the network, and I forget to take a screenshot that I'm going to need for my report later. So what do? I go into the log and I take a screenshot of the log. How do you log with Terminator? No idea. Don't use Terminator. Or I don't use Terminator. I'm not telling you not to use it. I'm saying I don't use Terminator. You can use the script command, the bash script command, like with anything else. Yeah, the OSCP report, this helps too. OSCP has strict documentation requirements. Like you have to run whoami on the target, and you have to run ipconfig to show that which machine you're on, and stuff like that. Okay? All of that will be contained in your logs, even if you forget to screenshot them. Okay? Trust me when I say you want backups for your backups. Okay? You want to be screenshotting things. You want to be... Yes, you can't say Felina. I'm not removing it. Okay? You want screenshots. You want logs. You want multiple logs. Okay? How to use the bash script command? Very simple. Okay? Very simple stuff. Let's exit out of here. I'm going to turn log mode to false again, because this is just my... this is not a pen testing machine. Or it's not a professional machine, so I don't need every command logged. Okay, so we'll put false there. Okay, the script command is... God damn it. It's CME demo, I think. Yeah, okay. So it's just script followed by where to save the file. Okay, so script example.log. Okay, that's it. And it's going to start a new bash session, and everything in this bash session will be recorded. So you can do like ID, ls, okay, and we can exit out of this bash set. Oh my god. And we can exit out of that bash session, and you can see when we exit the bash section, it says script done. And if we cat out example log.txt, or no, it was script example.txt or something. Okay, well, it logged autocomplete as well. Let's less script example.log. So you can see it logs everything. It logs fucking everything. The colors, my neofetch at the beginning, doesn't matter. Okay, log everything. Log it all. Okay, log all of it. You can see the outputs of my commands right here. Yes. Okay. You can also do less tac r. Yeah, that is true. I was too lazy to go back and do it, but there you go. So now it looks a little cleaner. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that helps, Husky Hacks. Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, it's never sexy to talk about logging. Okay? It's never sexy. But trust me when I say that as a professional pen tester, or even as someone taking a cert, you want to be logging everything. Okay? So the script command should be done at the beginning. It should be done at the very beginning before you start anything. Everything you type after the script command in that bash session it starts will be logged. JoboHack, AJP0, Like Gra, thanks for the follows. Orbital Gun, thanks for bringing JoboHack into the cult. Zero Kieran, thanks for bringing Husky Hacks back into the fold. Welcome back. Okay, so any questions about that stuff? So we can do CME, SMB, and if you're like, wow, there are a lot of functions here. How does Al know what to do? You can just put the protocol and then put tac h to see the help for that specific protocol. So you can see there's quite a few things that you can do here. There are quite a few things. Did my lab go down yet? It is not down yet, but it probably will shut off. The lab is going to shut off after an hour every single time. Is there a way to turn that text into a more pleasing view? I don't know. I don't usually bother with it. Usually the logs are only there as a backup. My screenshots are usually enough to get by with what I did. I only go into the logs if I need like a specifically to jog my memory about something I did. Something specific that I did. By logging, do you mean just note-taking? Like, Fat Sack, I just went into it. I like how I just finished explaining it, and someone's like, hey, what do you mean by logging? As if I haven't been talking about it for like 15 minutes. Like, no, I mean literally recording every command in your terminal, my dude. Record every command in your terminal. That's what I mean by logging. And the output. The smart script functions. Okay, yeah, take a look at that smart script function that Husky Hacks posted from Taggart's GitHub. Okay. Okay, so you can see that there's a lot of options here just for the SMB protocol. You can see that you can use Kerberos. You can authenticate with Kerberos with TAC-K. So what does TAC-K do versus TAC-TAC use Kcache? Well, let's understand, what is CrackMapExec doing when I authenticate to this machine as, for example, Robert Olmsted? What is CrackMapExec actually doing? And the password is seek the cheapest route. Oh, whoops. I forgot to put the target. And my cursor has gone away. I think that's just a quirk of... Okay. Isn't it sending the password to the DC? But what kind of authentication is it doing? What kind of authentication is this doing by default? Yeah, it's NTLM. By default, it's just doing NTLM. Okay? If you wanted to do Kerberos authentication, okay, such as if NTLM is disabled, or you're on a red team engagement, you want to be a little bit stealthier, okay? You want to put TAC in there, okay? Okay? The output is the same, but on the back end, we can see that if we do, like, TAC debug, maybe? Fuck. Is it a verbose option? Maybe TAC V? Fuck. I thought we looked this up earlier. Is it TAC V? TAC verbose. I did that. Unrecognized arguments verbose. Oh, God. So does it need to go before... Does it need to go as, like, a positional parameter, maybe? Oh my God, this cursor being gone is annoying. There we go. Yeah, it tries to... So it tries to connect... So it tries to connect with SMB v1 first. I thought it would show, like, I thought it would show... Maybe debug. TAC debug. This needs to be... I'm gonna have to probably restart. I think this is like CRT thing. I think I messed it up with the crazy output earlier. God damn it. Oh. I forgot. There it goes. So, can we see where it's requesting... So, this is just the NTLM authentication. Okay. Seek the cheapest route. Oh, Olmsted is spelled wrong. God, I can't spell anything right. Seek the cheapest route. Okay. So, it gets logon failure. What is it mentioning? I wonder if it can actually do... Can it do print spooler and petit potam too? Remind me to look into that, because that'd be cool if it could do those things. Alright, so now we add the TAC K. So that's what NTLM authentication looks like. Do we get information about the ticket? It's telling me what all of its... it does not give me information about requesting the ticket. Yeah, I'll put them on YouTube. Don't worry.
A hunter must hunt.
Can't forget the Bev.
So I thought there would be, if you add the TAC-K, it should be doing Kerberos authentication. Yeah, we might just have to run Wireshark and see. We might just have to run Wireshark, fellas. Pretty quick, let me go ahead and exit out of here and restart my terminal session. I think CRT got all messed up by the crazy terminal earlier. Okay, so let's go ahead and run Wireshark here. Is this Wireshark? This is Wireshark. Don't you need a Kirby file? I'm going to show you that redacted. I'm trying to show you that. We should get, I think it's ETH1. Okay, so if we ping 10.10.10.2, we should see ICMP packets. We do. Okay, so now if we do CrackMapExec, CME, SMB, okay, if we do the TAC-K option, we should see some Kerberos traffic. Okay, let's look at this. We see mostly SMB2 traffic, but we do see Kerberos traffic. We see a TGS request. We'll see an AS request. We see an AS rep. We see a TGS request. We see a TGS rep. And then we see SMB2 traffic because we're authenticating with the Kerberos ticket. So if you add the TAC-K, CrackMapExec will automatically, on the back end, request a Kerberos ticket for you, and then use that Kerberos ticket to authenticate to the machine. Does that make sense? You guys following me? How is that more stealthy? Because Kerberos authentication is more common on networks than NTLM authentication. If you're doing all kinds of NTLM traffic, it can look suspicious. If you're looking to blend in, usually if you're trying to be stealthy, that means blending in with typical traffic. And typically, clients will be defaulting to Kerberos authentication and using NTLM authentication as a fallback only. So seeing a lot of NTLM traffic on a network is not common if you're at the watcher on the wall. Scopos, thanks for the 11 months. Welcome back to the All Has Red team. Zonifer with the 10. Welcome back. And Init6, thanks for the follow. What are the IOCs of this? I don't know if CrackMapExec has known signatures for how it does Kerberos auth, but probably not many of them. Considering this is just how everybody connects. This is how everyone authenticates. Everyone's going to authenticate through this process. If there is a signature in this process, it will be in specifically how the AS request is formatted, things of that nature. How the TGS request is formatted, stuff like that. So what is the difference between that? There's another kind of Kerberos authentication you can do. If you use TAC-K with an older version of CrackMapExec, it will do this. But in the more recent versions, that's been switched to use Kcache. This use Kcache means, hey, hey, I already have a Kerberos ticket. I've acquired a Kerberos ticket somehow, and I want you to use that Kerberos ticket in authenticating. Does that make sense? So let's request a Kerberos ticket here. We can do impacket get TGT to just get a Kerberos ticket really quickly. So the domain is going to be insmith.local/robert.olmsted. And we have to put the DC IP here. (10.10.10.2). I think that should be fine. You can do this. Note that impacket. This is impacket, not CrackMapExec. But Okay, we can put the password. Okay, so now we have robertolmsted.ccache. Okay, so now in order to use this, we need to save it in an environment variable called krb5cc name so that CrackMapExec knows where to find it. We can just say, we're gonna, as long as we're operating in this particular directory, we can just do robert.olmsted.ccache. That'll accept a path as well. And then we can do CrackMapExec again. And let's go ahead and restart the capture. Continue without saving. And we will do tac use kcache. Did I spell it wrong? See, it says use Kerberos authentication from Ccache file, krb5cc name. I think that was right. Oh, I put 3 tacs. Whoops. And we're going to see some traffic here. Okay, we do successfully authenticate, and it tells us from Ccache. And if we look at the traffic here, notice that we just see SMB traffic. We don't see Kerberos traffic because CrackMapExec is not requesting a new ticket. We've already requested the ticket here, so that traffic was here. And now we're using the ticket. We're just using the ticket in you will actually see a TGS request. At least you should. I'm looking for it. Yeah. So you do see a TGS request. Here's that. So this is a ticket granting ticket, not a service ticket. So we have to use the ticket granting ticket to get a service ticket. You can also request a service ticket using Impacket. I'm only demonstrating CrackMapExec here, okay? So does that make sense? The different kinds of authentication that CrackMapExec can do? Any questions about that? Obviously, by the way, if you're just looking at this, there's a ton of shit that CrackMapExec can do. Look at all of this fucking shit that CrackMapExec can do, okay? It can do a fuckload of stuff, okay? I'm just trying to, but there's way too much for me to go into on this one stream, okay? If there's something you want me to, like, show you, I'm happy to do it. But I'm only trying to familiarize you with how CrackMapExec works at a basic level, and I'm going to show you the modules, and I'm going to show you, like, the most important functions and things like that. Could you argue that using Kcache is more stealthy as it simulates typical Kerberos traffic rather than spamming the AS request and TGS request? No, actually. Because usually, clients will request a new TGT whenever they need a TGS. A common way of detecting golden tickets, actually, is by looking for TGS requests that are not immediately preceded by a ticket granting ticket. By a TGT request. Does that make sense? So this would be the kind of thing, if you're trying to be stealthy, if stealth is something you care about, the use Kcache is something I would use if I'm using a golden ticket. This is useful for golden tickets and silver tickets, mostly. If you're forging your own ticket offline and then using it like this, then use Kcache is what you want to use. If you're just trying to, like, blend in with traffic and use typical Kerberos traffic, just the TAC-K option is probably going to look less suspicious. Other red teamers who are in chat can feel free to weigh in on that, but that's my own take. My take is that it's probably going to look less suspicious if you're doing that TGT request right before the TGS every single time. Does that make sense? Okay, so are we clear on the different kinds of authentication? This authentication can be done with basically all of the protocols that CrackMapExec supports. Okay, so some important things that it can do: execute commands. Now, Robert Olmsted is not a domain admin, but I'm gonna use a domain admin account just to demonstrate how to execute commands. Okay, administrator, and I'm also gonna give you some caveats with executing commands. Okay, if you need to execute commands on hosts, this is an option that's available to you, and we're gonna talk about that right now. The cult lives. Whoops. I forgot to remove the tac use kcache. So let's remove that. What are we doing today? We're doing a deep dive to CrackMapExec. We're doing CrackMapExec. I'm showing you guys how CrackMapExec works. You administrator, the cult lives 105. Oh, it's off. It shut itself off. I told you this would happen. The trial versions of the Windows Server instances shut down after an hour. To keep people from using them without a license. Or using them in production without a license. So I just have to start them up again. Give it a second. I guess it uses SMBexec under the hood. It can. It can also use other varieties. It can use multiple versions of code execution. We're going to talk about that here in a second. It has multiple methods of code execution. Okay? And it has tac lowercase x and uppercase x. And I'm going to show you both. I mean, I'm going through the most common functions that I use CrackMapExec for on real assessments. Okay? And we're going to talk about LDAP as well. LDAP is also useful. Okay? I'm giving you an introduction to CrackMapExec. I use the MSSQL TACX mode for one of the OSCP labs. Pretty cool. Yeah. Executing, can you just execute SQL commands, or does that execute xpcmd shell? Creasy. Does that just do SQL commands, or does that do xpcmd shell? Okay, it does xpcmd shell. Interesting. I don't have an MSSQL database set up here, so I can't demonstrate that, I'm afraid. I'd have to set that up. Okay, I think it's back up again. Again, I apologize. The network is just going to go down like that every so often. Yeah, again, CrackMapExec is one of my... Yeah, redacted, you're absolutely right. CrackMapExec is one of my most used tools on engagements. On internal engagements, and even on red team engagements, I make use of it a fair bit. It's just a great post-exploitation tool. It does a lot of stuff. Okay, so... You can see that normally this will say pwned. If you recall, I changed that. I changed that to admin earlier. I recommend you do that just as a little nitpicky thing to make your reports look more professional on a real assessment. I don't bother with it in a general sense, but to make your reports look a little bit more professional, maybe don't put pwned there. Okay. But this is a domain admin, so yeah, we are admin here. So let's see what let's execute a command. So if you do just regular tac x, and then put a command after this, like who am I, you can execute a command via SMB. Okay, so under the hood, I believe this is doing SMBexec, but we can go ahead and look that up. LDAP protocol. SMB protocol, command execution. I think it could do SMBexec, WMyExec, and a few other things. Okay. So it has 3 different command execution methods. WMyExec executes commands via WMI. ATExec executes commands with a scheduled task. Okay, it'll create a new scheduled task, execute the command with the scheduled task, and then delete the scheduled task. SMBexec creates commands just like PSExec does. Okay, it creates a service, executes command with that using that service, and then deletes the service, just like PSExec does. Okay, so by default, CME will fail over to a different execution method if one fails. It attempts to execute commands in the following order. So it actually does WMyExec by default first. Okay, I thought it did SMBexec first, so I just learned something. Okay, Windows Defender doesn't like those. We're going to talk about that. Okay, we're going to talk about that here in a second. Windows Defender will be fine with this, but it will not be fine with this. It will in this case because Windows Defender is disabled. But on real networks, you'll find that... What is the difference between lowercase x and capital X here? If this SMB... I have no idea. It's CMD versus PowerShell. Lowercase x is CMD, and uppercase X is PowerShell. Windows Defender won't care about this. It'll let you do this. It won't let you do this. And the reason is because by default, CrackMapExec tries to obfuscate its commands. By default, CrackMapExec will obfuscate its PowerShell commands before executing them. Okay? So by default, that obfuscation is signatured. Okay? But if you modify this, and you can go into... This is beyond the purview of this demo. But if we go into... back into the CME folder in our home directory, we can see obfuscated scripts. And you can make use... Let's see. It has an AMSI bypass built in as well. This is also signatured. But you can have it... You can have it run your own custom AMSI bypass. Okay? If you want. How do you change... I've tweaked those .py files so Defender doesn't trigger. So I have to actually go into the .py files to change it. I thought I was allowed to change it. Shit. I thought I was allowed to change... I thought it was built in that I could easily change it, but... If you modify CrackMapExec to make it so that... to use obfuscation that isn't signatured, this will not trip Windows Defender anymore. Okay? I did it in pack. It's fine. It's not a big deal. My point is, I'm only pointing out that by default, I don't think CrackMapExec does any obfuscation for lowercase x. Let's do CME demo. I don't think there's any obfuscation on lowercase x, but there is for uppercase x. It will automatically try to obfuscate, and you'll have to modify CrackMapExec in order to prevent it, in order to have it either not obfuscate or either not obfuscate or obfuscate in a way that isn't signatured by Windows Defender. Does that make sense? That's beyond the purview of this demonstration. I'm only demonstrating. Okay? So if you want to change what exec method it's using, you'd add exec method. Can't you just use tacx with PowerShell.exe? Yeah, you can. You absolutely can. So if you wanted to not obfuscate, you can do like he just said. You can do PowerShell.exe, taxc. You can do GCI C. String is missing the Terminator dot. Oh, it's probably this. Fucking backslashes. There you go. So, there you go. That's one way to use PowerShell without CrackMapExec obfuscating. Okay? So not obfuscating could pass Defender more than the built-in obfuscation will not get past Defender. It will not. It is signatured. So you're going to have to either AMSI bypass. You can do the custom AMSI bypass. You can do the custom AMSI bypass if you want. Or, and it will run that before it tries to run the PowerShell command. Okay? So, I don't have Windows Defender enabled on this server, and I'm not going to enable it just for this. This is beyond the purview of Newbie Tuesday. You're not dealing with antivirus in Newbie Tuesday. We're not going to worry about antivirus. I'm just telling you the different... The purpose of this is to show you how CrackMapExec works, not to show you how to evade antivirus. Okay? Exec method. If you want AMSI bypasses that are custom, they're in the Necronomicon, okay? Check the Necronomicon. And I have AMSI bypasses that are current and work. Exec method, I think it's equals. Let's just try AT. Oh, AT exec. Let's do that. Oh, it also has MMC exec. This is a com object. So it can do decom now too. That's cool. So you can even do decom if you want. There you go. Nice. So you can do decom too. Now this is a very well-known version of decom execution, but it still can do decom, which is cool. Yeah, Microsoft Management Console. Yeah. It's a decom thing. Okay, any questions? Again, I'm not going to go into what decom is on Newbie Tuesday. Distributed component object model. It's just how Windows likes to organize the various components of a Windows machine, basically. Some of those components can be used for command execution. Okay? MMC exec. MMC is one of the most common ones. All right. So, does everyone understand how to do command execution? PVNSZ. Thanks for the Prime and Prime. Welcome to the All Has Red team, my friend. AO Mogul, Taya KR, and AI Research Engineer. Thanks for the follows. Yeah, we don't want to go into decom. It's Newbie Tuesday, okay? It's how Windows works. It's going to get confusing really quick, okay? It's just a different method of executing commands. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so let's talk about modules. CrackMapExec has various modules. And I'm going to show you using modules. Which one is the workstation? It's .3. .3 is the workstation. So, by the way, this is one of the most important commands you're going to run, okay? Turn your fucking brains on. I don't want to explain this again afterwards, okay? Everyone turn your brains on. Is everyone brain on? Okay? If you have local admin on a machine, you run this, okay? Let's do it on the workstation. I think the workstation might have more. The .3 is the workstation. So you run this, and you see that you are admin. Okay? What's the first thing you're going to run with CrackMapExec? The next CrackMapExec command is going to have 5 more characters in it. What are those 5 characters? TacTacSam is acceptable. TacTacSam is acceptable. It's not what I was looking for, but that also is acceptable. LSA! LSA, LSA, LSA! This again also is acceptable. Sam also is acceptable. Remember what I say.
A fine addition to my collection.
If you have local admin, you want credentials. Where are those credentials? CrackMapExec can pull them out of the SAM file for you. It'll pull them out of the SAM file. And it'll pull it out of the registry. LSA accesses the LSA secrets in the registry. And looky there. Okay, it errored out. That's the first time I've seen it ever error out. Maybe it's because it's Windows 11. It could be because it's the workstation is Windows 11. Is possible. I don't know. It looks like it did error out, though. But it did dump everything. So, we can see a couple of things that are interesting here. We see the machine hash. We see the Data Protection API machine key, which is super useful. We also see a number of hashes for administrator, for Robert Olmsted, for Zadok Allen, Barnabas Marsh. So, what is this? This is the LSA secrets. Windows, in order to speed up the login process, caches credentials in the registry. Now, it caches them using the DCC2 MS cached credentials hash type. So what's the likelihood that you're cracking any of these hashes? I know what my passwords are. What is the likelihood that you think that you're cracking any of these hashes? Extremely low. Okay? Extremely low. The chances of you cracking one of these hashes is very, very, very low. They are very slow to crack. They are, like, literally, it will take days for it to go through Rock U. And that's if you have a really good rig. If you have an insanely good cracking rig, you'll get through Rock U in a couple of days with these hashes. Yeah. You'll get through Rock U for sure. Okay? Like, it's almost not even... I still try to crack them. I can count on one hand one time one of them is cracked. Like, and it has to be a very simple password. Okay? These basically never crack. However, sometimes, especially on older machines, sometimes the machine will be configured to cache clear text credentials in the registry. And you'll see those here. And by sometimes... When I say sometimes, how often do you think that happens in real life? In real life, how often do you think Al sees clear text credentials logged in the registry of machines that he compromises? All the fucking time. It's super often. Not every time, but it's super common. It is super common for me to see clear text credentials in the registry. Okay? It doesn't happen every time. Okay? But this is why I tell you, you should run this every single time you find you have local admin. Now, when I say they're clear text credentials in the registry, I don't mean you can just open up regedit and see the credentials in clear text. They are encrypted. But the credentials are encrypted with the machine key, which is right fucking here. So, they're encrypted using the data protection API, which is also in the registry. Okay? So, CrackMapExec will do you the favor of automatically extracting the machine key and decrypting all of these for you. Okay? And then, usually, the credentials will be encrypted with these DCC2 hashes. Which, again, if the password is not really common, it's not going to crack. Okay? You still try and crack them. They're not useless, but they're pretty useless, okay? You also have the machine system hash here, which can be used for all kinds of shenanigans, depending on the specific scenario in which you find yourself, okay? Like, for example, this hash... For example, if we did this with the domain controller, let's do this with the domain controller. This is the workstation. But we can do this with the domain controller really quickly. The domain controller is not going to have as many. I tried to show you more because the workstation is going to have more on them. There you go. So you can see the machine Kerberos keys. You can see the machine hash right here. So if you take this hash. You can authenticate to the machine with that. CrackMapExec will accept a hash. And you can authenticate with a machine account. So you can authenticate to the machine with its own account. So it's going to be Innsmouth, DC, and it has to end in a $. All machine accounts end in the $. Okay? And if you want to use a hash, you use capital H. And put that there. And there you go. You can see we can authenticate. Now, you notice we don't have admin. This is because machines don't have admin to themselves. The machine's system account does not have admin to themselves. However, if this is a domain controller, you can still do this. Can crash the DC on Windows Server 2019. Fuck it. We're going for it. We'll dump a specific user. We'll just dump a specific user. That's the first I've seen that, which is kind of interesting. Hey, so the TAC NTDS will dump ntds.dit. If you are a domain admin or a domain controller account, you can do this, okay? But if you're only dumping a single user, what user should it be? If you're only dumping a single user, what user are you dumping? Yes, KRBTGT, not administrator. Administrator's fucking... KRBTGT is so much more useful than administrator. Why? Why is administrator is the domain admin account? Obviously, that's useful. Why is KRBTGT even more useful? Yeah, it lets you impersonate anyone. You can impersonate anyone in the domain if you have the KRBTGT account hash. So you can just do user KRBTGT. And there you go. So with this hash, you can forge your own Kerberos tickets. You don't need to ask the domain controller for Kerberos tickets anymore. You can make your own ticket with this hash, and you can impersonate anyone in the domain, including the domain administrator. So if you're dumping a single user, it should be this one. Okay? Does that make sense? How often does the KRBTGT hash change? I think Microsoft has an option in there now to have it change itself regularly. I think it does, but normally the KRBTGT does not change. No, you can change it. You totally can change it. But people don't. People don't. Okay? Any questions about that? TAC NTDS option for domain admins. TAC LSA and TAC SAM for local admins on machines. Does that make sense? Is everyone writing all those things down? Can you show us how to create a golden ticket? I don't think you can create a golden ticket with CME yet. How the hell do you figure this stuff out? Just a lot of work. Like there's no secret to it, Darth Tarak. There's no secret to it. It's just knowing how these things work. What is NTDS? NTDS.dit is the file on the domain controller that contains all the credentials. That's where the domain controller stores all of the domain account hashes. CrackMapExec will automatically extract the file, decrypt it, and extract users from it. Okay? Will upgrades to a new domain level set that KRBTGT password change process to true? I don't know. I don't know. It may be that Microsoft doesn't change it anymore. Doesn't have a setting to change it. I just thought I heard that. I don't know if it's true or not. KRBTGT is not changed very often at all. I assume dumping all this would trigger Defender? Nope. Doesn't trigger Defender. This is normal behavior. This is not suspicious in and of itself. This is normal behavior. We're not actually dumping NTDS.dit here. What we're doing is we're requesting a DC sync. A DC sync is where a new domain controller comes online on the network and says, hey, hi, I'm a new domain controller. I need all the credential information so I can do my job as a domain controller. That's what CrackMapExec is doing here. CrackMapExec is just pretending to be a new domain controller and asking for the credential information. Now, that will get flagged by advanced endpoint protection, like Windows Defender for Endpoint. Yeah, EDR absolutely will flag it. They didn't ask about that, though. They asked about Defender. Baseline stock Defender will not flag on this. However, Defender for ATP, Windows Defender for Endpoint, the souped-up version of Windows Defender that is Microsoft's proprietary endpoint protection, will detect on a DC sync, except when? If you're facing Windows Defender or CrowdStrike or any EDR, when is it okay to DC sync? Yeah, from the domain controller. From another domain controller. It is normal for domain controllers to request credential information from other domain controllers. So if you want to DC sync against an EDR product that would normally block it, you need to do it from the domain controller itself. So basically, you would log into the domain controller and do the DC sync from the domain controller itself. Is that because just because this is how the DC sync is intended to work? No, it's just because this is how DC sync is intended to function. This is intended functionality. Have you tested that in a lab? I've tested it on networks before. I'm telling you, that's how it works. I've seen some socks flag all DC syncs, like across the board, but they get a ton of false positives that way. Basically, they get a ton of false positives, and they just kind of accept that the false positives are going to be there, okay? Every domain controller is a hell of false positives. Does it have to be from a DC, or is the DA user enough? No. It has to be from a DC. The traffic must originate from a DC. Darth Tarak, thanks for the first time indoctrination of the cult, my man. Welcome to the All Has Red team. Fodeker and Whipped Llama, thanks for the follows. Okay? So let's talk about modules really quick. Let's talk about modules. CrackMapExec has a lot of extensions that are called modules. They can do a lot of things. I think we can do... If we do SMB, I think it's TAC L. To list modules, TAC L. Let's take a look. What is the modules? TAC capital M, TAC capital L for list modules, okay? TAC capital L for list modules. Or TAC list modules, which is easier to remember. So this will list the modules that are available for a particular protocol. So, wow, there are more here. Holy fuck. They added some more, okay? So you'll notice some cool ones. Dump credentials from Firefox. Use WMI to dump DNS. That's fucking awesome. Like, most of these I don't even know about, which is, again, why we're doing this. Like, these modules are fucking great. Nano dump will automatically get an LSAS dump will automatically do an LSAS dump and parse the result. Oh my god, we gotta try that shit. I'm trying that right now. TAC M nano dump. We're trying that shit out right now. Try a few of these. Again, there's way more than I'm ever going to be able to try, but I want to try this. M nano dump. Holy shit. So it dumps it to a file on disk. It downloads the file. And it deletes it for you. Okay? It doesn't look like it parses it. It looks like it doesn't parse it. But what this did is it took a memory dump. No, it's not patching LSAS. It's copying the LSAS process out of memory. The entire running LSAS process in memory. It is copying it out of memory to disk and then downloading it. Okay? So basically, this is the sneakier way to run Mimikatz. Okay? Instead of running Mimikatz on the target, that's kind of loud though, it's less loud than just running Mimikatz, which you can also do, by the way. It's the sneak. We're not talking about red team stuff today, okay? Like, people keep asking about red team stuff, and I'm okay talking about it in a simple way. I'm not here I'm not here on Newbie Tuesday to talk about like to talk about being stealthy on a red team engagement. I'm here to talk about how you're going to pass the OSCP. Okay? So how you're going to pass the OSCP is by getting local admin onto a machine. You can also do LSASI. LSASI I've used on real assessments before. So you can do TAC M LSASI. LSAS. Little LSAS. Whoops. Is it one S and then two S's? Yeah, it's the subsystem service. So there he goes. So this basically is running Mimikatz. This basically, nobody's logged into the domain controller right now, so there are no credentials in it. But let me log into the workstation, and then I'll do it on the workstation. Hang on. Fuck. What is his password? I thought that was it. Maybe I typed it wrong. Okay, I'm logging into the workstation. Off screen, you can't see. LSASI caused some problems. What did it do? I've never seen problems with it, other than it's sometimes tripping EDR. It will trip EDR, but it won't trip Windows Defender. That I've seen anyway. Could be wrong. They could have updated their... So this is the workstation. It's automatically parsing LSAS looking for credentials. It's essentially running Mimikatz. Okay? It's essentially running Mimikatz. Do you have a go-to AMSI bypass? It's in the Necronomicon. That's why the Necronomicon exists. Windows Defender Vanilla does not see it still. That's good. LSASI is pretty reliable for me on assessments. If there's not, like, CrowdStrike or Windows Defender for Endpoint active, LSASI usually works. Sentinel-1 will catch it, too. Sentinel-1 does catch it. Unable to dump LSAS. Maybe it's a protected process. It's Windows 11, so maybe it's a protected process. Windows 11 has LSAS as a protected process, so that's probably why it can't dump. It's fine. That's fine. I still recommend you try it on assessments because clients will not be running. How is Sentinel-1? It's fine. It's good. It detects on the big stuff. Sentinel-1 has great telemetry, too. So, you ever encountered FireEye-HX? No, not yet. So let's look at what other modules are there here. There's way too many modules for me to try them all, but I encourage you. I can do Petit Potam. And some modules will have options. Like let's do Petit Potam really quick on the domain controller. Petit Potam, and we can do tac options, I think, to see the module options. Okay. So, and we can put a listener somewhere. So let's start up Tmux. Okay, that music is coming in really hot right now. Okay. Just start Tmux here so I can have multiple panes open easily. So we'll open another pane. And we'll do responder. Okay. So we're just going to have responder listen. Okay. Okay. We can put whatever pipe. It doesn't matter. I think it's tac O listener equals 10.0.0. Shit, what is my listener?
A hunter must hunt.
ETH1 10.10.10.6 10.10.10.6. So we're setting an option. And you see that it did coerce authentication. Petit Potam's function is to coerce authentication from one machine to another machine. Okay? So you see that the hash doesn't get printed out here because Responder has already captured the hash for the Innsmouth DC. Because I've experimented with similar attacks before on this box and with this network. So Responder has already captured the hash. But you can see that CrackMapExec forced the domain controller to authenticate to us. Does that make sense? Do people see that, like, basically we forced the domain controller to authenticate to us? Does that make sense? Josh, with the first time Prime indoctrination into the cult, welcome. Okay? So that's a cool module. I only show you that to show you how the options work. You can set options on various modules will have options. If you want to see, again, if we look at the list of modules, CME, SMB, TAC, capital L to list modules. You can see all of them here. It's got a WDigest module for logging clear text credentials in memory. It's got the zero. It can check to see if the DC is vulnerable to zero logon. What we just did was Petit Potam. You can use procdump64 from sysinternals to dump a process from memory. You can check for print nightmare as well. The print spooler. You can also check for the print spooler to be enabled. Extract VEAM credentials. That's cool. And it can look up, it can do NOPAC too. Cool. Okay, any questions about that? So, that's how you use modules. I encourage you to experiment with all these modules. I don't want to get bogged down with trying random modules here. Have you had any luck with the web delivery for SMB? That looks like it's going to use a Metasploit payload, so it looks like you might have to modify it to get obfuscate it. I'm not sure how it's working. Okay? I'm not sure how it works. I think Meterpreter Inject will run it inject it directly into memory, which is nice. So you can try that. You can try that as well. Masky. Remotely dump domain user credentials via ADCS and a KDC? Let's try Masky. What is that going to do? Masky? Options? I've not used that one. Certificate authority. There is a certificate authority. Executable Masky agent to be deployed. What is Masky? I might have to include it in the course. Masky ADCS. Python library providing an alternative way to remotely dump domain users' credentials thanks to ADCS. Well, fuck. See, now I'm adding more shit to the course. Like... God damn it. I didn't want to know about this. Actually, I think I did know about this, and I just forgot about it. Collect secrets of running domain user sessions from a remote target. I need to know exactly what it does. I'm going to have to dig into this offline. What is the course about? ADCS? It's about ADCS. So I'm gonna have to read about this. It's not that it's beyond Newbie Tuesday stuff. This is beyond Newbie Tuesday stuff. I'm just gonna have to look into it for the course. So CME can do stuff besides SMB. We most commonly use it with SMB, at least I do. But it can also do stuff with LDAP. So let's try LDAP out. Again, we'll try the domain administrator here. We'll try the domain user. We'll try to simulate a domain user. Didn't you give out your notebook with the tools you use daily? Yes. It's the Necronomicon. It's on my Patreon. Which I still need to update. Okay, so you can authenticate to LDAP using this as well. So if you want to see what CrackMapExec can do with LDAP, you do CME LDAP TAC H for help. And you can see, what can we do? Well, quite a bit, actually. You can use Kerberos authentication like we saw before. You can use a Kcache file like we saw before. How long before it supports certificate authentication too? Probably not long. There are various modules you can use with LDAP as well. So we can do TAC capital L to list modules. So ADCS. So you can enumerate ADCS with this. This is beyond the scope of OSCP, but just for funsies. Let's take a look at the ADCS module. See what options there are. Let's just run it without any options and see. I think it'll probably enumerate the ADCS server on its own. Yep. So there is, this found, it did find my my CA. But it didn't enumerate beyond that. It can't find PKI enrollment. Oh, so all it's doing is finding enrollment services. So it finds my it found my enrollment service on the CA server. You can enumerate domain trusts this way. You can find computers on the domain. You can extract lapse passwords. Doesn't Kali feel laggy on VirtualBox? It is a little bit laggy on VirtualBox, yeah. I've been thinking about switching off of VirtualBox. It's just a lot of work. So I may try to look into other virtual machine options. Thank you, Lord Panda. I appreciate it. I hope you find it useful. So let's try Bloodhound. You can run Bloodhound. I just never have with CrackMapExec. So let's try doing it. Let's try doing it here. So tac Bloodhound. The name server is the domain controller, so 10.10.10.2. And the C is all. For collection method all. Let's see if it collects. You've looked into something like VMware? I have, but VirtualBox is free and VMware is not. So we do, it did run Bloodhound. It did run Bloodhound for us here. So it ran Bloodhound for us there without pretty much painlessly. Pretty painlessly there. Very nice. So if you don't want to use Bloodhound in a fucking Docker container like I do, maybe try it with CrackMapExec. Yeah, you can use VMware Player, but it doesn't have any features, dude. There's no like snapshots. Like it has only the very baseline functionality, and that just doesn't work for me. But I may try, like, Hyper-V. I've heard good things about Hyper-V. I may try that. You can get a Workstation Pro license from G2A for, like, $1. Well, I mean, I've never tried that. I can't speak to that, but that sounds pretty cool. So, these are all the LDAP options. You can do Kerber roasting and ASREP roasting. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's try Kerber roasting and ASREP roasting. There shouldn't be any ASREP roastable accounts, but there is one Kerber roastable account on this network. We can do Kerber roast. Expected 1 argument. What argument? Oh, did you want like a spin or a service like to... Let's look it up in the wiki. This is why the wiki exists.
A hunter must
So, LDAP, Kerber roasting. Oh, it wants an output.txt. Okay. So, Kerber roasting for some reason. And then we can do hashes.txt. And there we go. We do see it pulls, actually there's 2 accounts to Kerberos. There's the Certs service, which is the service that the certificate authority is running with. And there is another one, which I think is Grocery SQL. Yep. So those are the Kerberostable accounts. So you can try and crack those. Those are ready to be cracked right there. Very, very nice. You can also do ASREP roast, but there are no ASREP roastable accounts. Any questions about the LDAP function, chat? Any questions about that? Bloodhound, Kerber roasting, ASREP roasting. 3FXX, thanks for the 4 months, my friend. Nefarious, thanks for the 21. Josh, thanks for the first time Bezos indoctrination. Welcome back. Fidelia, Josh, and Zax QO, thanks for the follow. All each CME truly does it all? Yeah, it does. It definitely does. That's why I recommend it. I joke on stream that CME is like 2 major releases away from being its own pen testing distro. Like, it does just everything. They just keep adding more shit to it. They just keep adding more stuff. Like, really. I deeply recommend that you become familiar with CrackMapExec for OSCP. Okay? I promise you that probably the entire Active Directory portion can easily be done with CrackMapExec if you know the right modules and functions to use. And again, if you're local admin, which functions are you going to use? If you're local admin on a machine, what functions do you want to use in CrackMapExec first? Sam, what else? LSA, what else? You can run the LSASI module. Okay? LSASI module. All the credentials modules. Just run all of the credentials modules. Okay? ChatGPT. All right? You can also do WinRM. CME WinRM 10.10.10.2. You will usually need to be administrator to do this. Oh, it must be, it has a different database. It has a different database for WinRM. For some reason. I don't know why. For some reason. Let's just do move. There we go. Let's try it again. It'll initialize a new database. There you go. So we can see WinRM here. You can also execute commands through WinRM. There you go. So you can execute commands through Windows Remote Management. Any questions about that? WinRM doesn't have as many options because it's really just for executed commands. That's what WinRM is for. But you can do a TAC-H just to see. So you can still dump SAM and LSA using WinRM. Execute same thing with the command execution, but notice that there's only one way to execute it because you're executing it through WinRM. And that's it. You can also check for modules. Attack capital L to list modules. Looks like there's no modules. For WinRM anyway. Okay. Any questions, chat? Pretty straightforward there. There's also MSSQL. I do not have an MSSQL database set up for this. So CME, MSSQL, TAC H, but we can take a look at what is on offer. So command execution requires XPCMD shell to be enabled. I think it will enable XPCMD shell. XPCMD shell if it's not enabled. And then execute the command and then unenable it again. I think. Can you execute arbitrary SQL queries? These are all the options for selecting what server you want to connect to. And if you want to do local auth or domain authentication. You can put and get a file. Oh, that's another thing CrackMapExec can do. That's useful. Okay. So if you want to transfer a file to the machine, you can do that. You can do that with SMB as well. So let's try that really quickly. Let me demonstrate that. So SMB, the syntax is a little bit finicky, I confess. So if I remember right, we're going to put like, let's just echo Cthulhu fhtagn into Cthulhu.txt, and we're going to just write Cthulhu.txt to the domain controller. Okay. Put file Cthulhu.txt at C. It's better if you put this in quotes. Cthulhu.txt. Yeah, I confess to you that the syntax is a little bit finicky. I've had issues with the syntax before. Let me see. Get and put files. Yeah, it tells you the wrong syntax in the output of the help command. What it actually wants is // for some reason. To this day, I haven't understood where Cthulhu comes from. What is it and how did it begin? Cthulhu is a fictional creation of the writer H.P. Lovecraft that we use as sort of a stream mascot. There we go. So, see Cthulhu.txt. If we look on the domain controller, this is the domain controller. We log into the domain controller. Okay. We can open up File Explorer. Okay. We can go to local disk, and we see that we do have Cthulhu.txt here. Cthulhu fhtagn. Does that make sense? You can also get files as well. So if you want to download a file from the target, it's just that in reverse. It's just tac get file, and then the path where the file is located, and then where you want to save it on your machine. Does that make sense? That's another useful CrackMapExec option. You can handle laps. That's beyond the purview of Windows Defense. That's beyond the purview of OSCP. Okay? Don't worry about that for OSCP. Wow, it can do unconstrained delegation too. That's fucking nutty. Wow. It can just retrieve all of the trusted for delegation machines. That's cool. It could do ESC. It can just do ESC8. What? Oh, so if you add... Well, fuck. Okay, hang on. Let's try ADCS again. This is, again, not interesting for the purposes of OSCP. So if you're really just learning and interested to learn about OSCP stuff, turn your brain off for a second. But you shouldn't turn your brain off because you're going to have to be exposed to this stuff eventually. I just want to see if this works. I've never... I want to add this to the course. LDAP... Okay, ADCS, and then it wants me to add an option of server, and then the CA, which is InsmouthNet SRV1 CA. Oh, isn't it LDAP? Is it TAC-M ADCS? Yeah, it's TAC-M ADCS. Whoops. It's good to see ADCS integration. I'll add it to the course. There you go. So these are all my certificate templates that I have on the CA. Don't worry about this for OSCP. Not necessary. Okay? Not necessary for OSCP. Not necessary for OSCP. I just didn't know CrackMapExec could do this. So I was just testing it. Okay? All right. Pretty cool stuff. I'm sure that eventually CrackMapExec will just authenticate to ADCS for you and all that kinds of shit. You can also do SSH. I don't have SSH running on any of these hosts, but you can do it. I'm not going to do it right now in front of you because I'd have to show you my SSH password, and I don't want that. And I'd have to start SSH. But you can also do SSH and FTP. Any other questions? Any questions about CrackMapExec? So, we're going to start rating these tools that we review in these stream segments out of 5. Okay? We're going to rate it out of 5. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Like, out of 5 what? Is it going to be 5 stars? 5 dildos? 5, I don't know. But whatever it is, it's 5 out of 5. Okay? CrackMapExec unquestionably gets a 5 out of 5. 5 tentacles, 5 Rileys. We'll figure it out. Okay? Point is, it's going to be a scale out of 5. Because out of 10 feels a little bit... it'd be 5 tentacles. Okay? We'll call it tentacles for right now. Okay? It's 5 out of 5 tentacles. Okay? Whenever we rate one of these tools, we're going to be rating it out of tentacles. Okay? CrackMapExec is updated all the time. Like, let's see what the most recent commit was. 2 hours ago. So, I would say it's kept fairly... I would say it's worked on fairly frequently. It's fairly in active development. Okay? The point is, CrackMapExec has come a long way from just being a way to interact with SMB, which is what it was originally. Okay? CrackMapExec has a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff it can do, and they're constantly adding more stuff that CrackMapExec can do. Okay? Marcello, the original creator of CrackMapExec, Bitebleeder, as you may know him, is a fucking black belt in this shit. He knows his fucking shit, okay? That guy knows his shit. Okay? All right? So, 5 out of 5 tentacles for CrackMapExec. Okay? We're going to do other tools that probably won't get that number of tentacles, but if there's any tool out there that deserves 5 out of 5 tentacles, it's going to be one I use as often as I use CrackMapExec. Okay? I use CrackMapExec all the time. If you're ever in a position where you're testing internal networks at all, you're going to be doing CrackMapExec if you know anything at all. Okay, 5 out of 5 tentacles for CrackMapExec. As people would have expected. What's the next tool we're going to do? I don't know yet. Maybe I'll post a poll. Like, people, the intent behind this is to let people, is to tell me about tools that I don't know. Bloodhound? Oh, Bloodhound is going to be 5 out of 5. Bloodhound is too useful. Rubius? Ooh. Certify would probably be 4.5 out of 5 tentacles. Let's do... I prefer to keep it to tools we don't know. Yeah. I prefer to keep it to tools that are, like, new. Or maybe aren't as well known. The point of this is to get people tools to add to their toolkit. New ways to add to their toolkit. Right? It's not just to, rag on open source developers. It's to give attention to open source developers that deserve a little bit more attention. Okay? And also, Reanimator. Oh, it's 1. That's a 1 out of 5. Reanimator is a stitched together pile of dog shit. I took Nimcrypt 2, I modified it heavily, and added a whole bunch more features. But basically, it's a duct tape together amalgamation of garbage. That barely works. So, yeah. We can also do this with C2 frameworks as well. Like, we kind of did this with Havoc. With Havoc C2. Legolo NG is a good option to show off. Is that the port forwarding one I saw earlier? Legolo NG. Like, if you have suggestions, send them to me on Discord or Twitter. So this looks like just chisel. This is just chisel, right? Is this just chisel? No more socks. What? I already don't like it. Using a ton. So it just makes an interface. Okay, never mind. Okay, now I'm impressed. Okay, so it's going to be this. The next time we review a tool, it'll probably be this. Because it just makes an interface? I don't need proxy chains? Oh my god, that'd be so nice. That would be so nice if it just makes a new interface. Again, we'll play around with this, okay? We'll do it next time, okay? We're not going to do it right now. I didn't know this existed until just now, okay? This looks fairly new. 25 commits. Looks fairly new. I'm using it on Dante. It's really nice. I'm going to have to give it a shot. It's another Go tool, looks like. Again, we will experiment with it. We'll play around with it. I've used Chisel in the past, but it doesn't mean there isn't a better option. All right. So we'll do, like, if there's a tool you would like to see on a stream like this, let me know. We'll start doing this more often. No, don't go back there. Don't go back there. No. The only limitation is that it cannot expose internal ports. That is a limitation. But it works amazing with internal networks. Good to know. Good to know. So it doesn't outmode Chisel, is what I'm being told. It doesn't make Chisel outmoded. We doing one tool for a stream? Depends. So, like a big tool, like CrackMapExec. A big tool like CrackMapExec is gonna take more time to go through. Okay. But a smaller tool like this is a much more small, specialized tool. This might not take as long to go through. So we might do more than one tool. If there's a tool you'd like to see in a segment like this, let me know. The point of this is predominantly to show you tools you may not know about and how to use them so you can add them to your toolkit. Is Villain like for... Villain, I think, is a C2 framework. They just added it to Kali. I saw it in the patch notes for Kali. A high-level C2 framework. It looks like it handles multiple reverse shells, I think. Can handle multiple TCP socket and hoax shell-based reverse shells. Enhance their functionality. So if we can definitely give this one a try. We can give this one a try for sure. Especially if the shells bypass like Windows Defender. That'll make it very nice. This might be very useful for internal network penetration testing. So I'm going to have to play around with it. I'm on an internal right now, so maybe I'll get a chance to use it. Give it a chance to give it a try. But we should definitely take a look at this. Some of them bypass and some get flagged. That's true for everything. That's true for literally everything. It doesn't tell me anything. So we'll experiment with that one too. Any questions about CrackMapExec? We did finish a little early today, but I got to go right back to work anyways. So a little bit less of a stream, so I can go back to working on my report because I got to get my report done. Could you display the LSA module again? The LSA module is very simple. All it is tac-tac LSA. It's just tac-tac LSA. It's not even a module. It's just an option. It's not in LDAP. It's in SMB. And WinRM. Glad you're on the mend. I'm improving slowly, but really, that sucked. Oh, the whole fucking network just shut down. But that's how you run it, okay? The whole network shut down again because that's what it does. But that's how you run it. Any questions about that? Thank you for the informative stream. If you have questions after the stream, feel free to reach out. CrackMapExec is a very huge tool. It was impossible for me to show all of its functionality right here on this stream. But hopefully, this will help you with your OSCP. This will help you use CrackMapExec on real assessments. Let's see. Who should we raid? We got BreakSec is streaming. I have to go eat something before I continue with my report, honestly. I'm fucking starving. I had like a little snack earlier. So the next stream is probably going to be Thursday. It should be Thursday. I don't foresee anything getting in the way. Tomorrow, I'm going to see what might be the best movie ever made. But tomorrow's not a normal streaming day. So you'll just all have to hear how Slaughterhouse was on Thursday. I saw it today. Well, don't spoil, okay? Don't spoil Ion to Prize. It's like, literally, there's only one showing in my area. Like, at all. Like, it's a low-budget indie movie. And the premise was too funny for me to not go. The premise is that there's a sorority house that wants a mascot, so they adopt a sloth. They adopt a fucking sloth as their mascot, and the sloth turns out to be like a super intelligent, murderous lunatic and starts picking them off one by one. And so just reading that description and the title Slaughterhouse, I thought, okay, this might be the best movie that's ever been made. Like, it's not the question is, how many Academy Awards will this win? Not will it win Academy Awards? Are you watching movies with Discord? Are you watching movies with Discord? We do that sometimes in Footpix's Discord. Like, we watched 90 Day Fiancé last weekend. But this one is in theaters, so I'm going into theaters. Please stop. No, this is a real thing, and I will not. Shan't stop. Pawn to Pone, Mikey Doodles, and Nazgak. Thanks for the follow. So I'll let you know how Slaughterhouse was on Thursday. I anticipate quite a bit bad, so bad it's good. Fuck, I missed 90 Day. Yeah, we randomly decided to do 90 Day on Saturday, I think, on Saucy Sat. No, maybe it was Friday. I think it was Friday. Avatar is the worst movie ever made. Okay, watch any M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like, watch The Last Airbender, Lieber Schnitzel. If you watch, I guarantee you that if you watch The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan, you will wish to God you were watching Avatar. Okay? And not just the Avatar cartoon. You'll wish to God you were watching the Avatar movie with the blue people. Okay? You will want the sweet release of the Na'vi. Okay? You will pray for the sweet release of the Na'vi. The best part about The Last Airbender is everyone's name is pronounced incorrectly. And sometimes the names are pronounced multiple different ways. Sometimes, like, they pronounce the characters' names in different ways in subsequent scenes. So they don't even seem to be able to decide on an incorrect pronunciation on a consistent pronunciation, let alone a correct one. Yeah, Ong. I mean, I've never even seen the show. And I know it's pronounced Ang. Okay? Everybody knows it's pronounced Ang. Okay? But in the movie, they pronounce it Ong. Like, what is going on? M. Night Shyamalan is a fucking clown of the highest order. Okay? The man's out of control. Okay? He needs to be stopped. If you've seen, and I could just keep going on. Honestly, which one is worse, The Last Airbender or Lady in the Water? That's the real question. If you want to legitimately kill yourself, like, watch Lady in the Water. That is the most incoherent, nonsensical, self-indulgent stream of consciousness fucking bullshit that, like, it is incredible. Like, if that the fact that Avatar, okay, I like Avatar, okay, I'm an Avatar fan, but I understand that if people do not like Avatar, okay, I understand. And by Avatar, when I talk about Avatar, I'm referring to the movie Avatar, with the Na'vi and the aliens and the all that. I'm not talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay, that's a different thing. Okay, if I'm talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, I will say The Last Airbender or indicate as such. I don't think Avatar. I really like Avatar, and I like Avatar 2. Come at me. I know that they're not pinnacles of cinema. They're not. They're not pinnacles of cinema. I think Avatar and Avatar 2 are good movies, though. I think they're good. Okay? The Marines, the whales, all of it was not cool with me. Why was it not cool with you, Lieber Schnitzel? Let me ask you a question. Okay, legitimate question. Why was the whales not cool with you? Why was it not cool with you? Give me a reason. It's okay. It's okay if you don't like it. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just trying to maybe I can show you something here. Can we just agree Avatar 2 is Avatar 1 with extra steps? It is, yes. The subtitles? Like, if it's just the subtitles. Okay, so first of all, you're supposed to be incredibly uncomfortable during the whale scene. Okay? You are supposed to be uncomfortable. If you're watching the whale scene and, like, not feeling super uncomfortable, you're a soulless lunatic who probably is a serial killer. The point of that scene was to make you uncomfortable. Because I'm going to give you a little bit of a guess, buddy. Hey, buddy. Quick question. What do you think the whale scene was meant to be a movie adaptation of? What do you think? It's not hard. Yes, Japan, but what in Japan? What do the Japanese do? What do the Japanese still do that they shouldn't? They kill whales in much the same way that they were killed in Avatar. Your whales are intelligent, sentient animals. Whales should not be killed in that way. Sharks are a different situation. Sharks are fish. Okay? Sharks are fish, much more primitive. Whales and dolphins, near human level of intelligence. These are intelligent, sentient animals. And they're being killed for nothing. For fucking magic crap that comes out of their brains, which is a adaptation of ambergris. In real life, it was ambergris. That's the reason we killed whales originally. You don't use any of the animal. They just extract the whale oil so they can use it in cosmetics and shit. You're supposed to feel like it's a disgusting, uncomfortable thing that they're doing. You are supposed to feel that way. That's how the movie wants you to feel about that practice. It's like when people say, I saw when Avatar 2 came out, I saw tons of tweets about how people wanted to go to Pandora. People are just like, oh my god, I want to go to Pandora so bad, it's so beautiful. And I just want to grab these people and shake them. Okay? You're there, my dude. You're there right now. Earth is Pandora. The point of the Avatar movies is to get you to give a shit about the planet you live on. And I think that's why I support the Avatar movies. The Avatar, like people in the chat, I even see people in my own chat talking about whatever social message is just weak. How is it a weak message? How is it a weak message to simply want people to care about the planet that they live on? How is that a weak message? Okay, if you're a conservative who doesn't give a fuck about the planet you live on, first of all, go fuck yourself. Okay? My comment to you is go and fuck yourself. Go and fuck yourself with a roll of quarters. Okay? Because, first of all, fuck you. Also, just fuck you. Just fuck you. Okay? If you can't handle the Avatar movies because you think they're too preachy, guess what? You're probably who they're aimed at because you don't give a shit. You should give a shit. You should give a shit about the planet you live on. Okay? You should. I'm not saying you have to like Avatar. I'm not saying you have to think that they're pinnacles of movie making. That's fine. Okay? You're allowed to not like them as movies. Totally fine. I agree that from a plot standpoint, they're very thin. Very thin plots. The characters, we don't care about the characters. Characters we don't care about. You're watching the movie to see the crazy good CGI, which still looks amazing, by the way. The visuals are amazing. But I acknowledge that plot-wise, very thin. Okay? Very, very thin. And the second movie is really just the first movie again with extra steps. I agree. But to come into my chat and say that the social message is weak, I don't agree, my dude. I simply flat out don't agree. I think Avatar is making a very important social message, and I think that at times it does it very well. Okay? I think at times Avatar is ruinously effective at the social message it's trying to convey. Because everyone complains about the whale scene. Okay? The whale scene was supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. It's supposed to be very difficult to watch. That was the intent. Avatar is just really good at that. In ways. What's the message from Sausage Party? The message is don't watch Sausage Party. That's the message. Parasite's also an extremely good movie, by the way. Parasite, also extremely good movie, but different message. Related message, but different. Related message, but different. Okay? One of the best movies on that subject. Mother. Which movie is that, Archon 64? You can always count on Nolan movies. I don't like Christopher Nolan very much. Not to say I hate all of his movies. I don't. I just find them overly convoluted in some cases. Which movie is more touching, Good Old Sausage Party or The Last Airbender? Oh, God. I would rather watch Sausage Party than The Last Airbender. I at least laughed a couple of times at Sausage Party. Was it a good movie? No. Terrible. Terrible movie. But it was not as bad as The Last Airbender. The Last Airbender was a violent violent crime that was perpetrated on me against my will. Okay? The whale scene in Avatar is one of the best scenes because it's meant to is its construction. The point of the whale scene is not to be easy to watch. The point of the whale scene is for you to look at that and go, fuck, is that really what whaling is like? Yes. That is what whaling is like. And it should not be allowed. The people who do that to whales should be shot. And the fact that it was cathartic when that guy was thrown up, was finally like sawed in half or something. Or like the fact that he was like, what happened to him again? The whale jumped on the boat and threw that one fucking guy up in the air, and he got cut in half somehow. It was fucking awesome. Okay, I could masturbate to that. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck everyone on that boat. Yeah, the spearman, the whaling people. Fuck all of them. It was so cathartic. That's why I like Avatar. Watching all those pieces of shit get fucked over at the end is awesome. Okay? Why did they use Marines as villains? Okay, let's see if we can... Okay, basic level of media analysis. Here we go. Why do you think... Okay, let me ask you another question, Lieber Schnitzel. I don't know what country you're from. Why do you think all the humans in the movie have American accents? In Avatar, why do all the humans have American accents? Let's do basic level of media analysis. Here we go. All the humans have American accents. Why? You guys got me going now, okay? I'm on my soapbox. You got me going now. We're here talking about movies. Team America World Police? Yup. Because because the movie is an extremely thinly veiled attack on American imperialism. In fact, it's so thinly veiled, there's an American flag in one scene taking up the whole screen. Nobody notices this. Let me point it out. Let me just fucking show you. There's an American flag in one scene. Hang on. In the first Avatar movie, we're not talking about District 9. We're talking about Avatar. District 9 is a different thing. Nobody notices this, but and the people I've pointed this out to are like, well, that's just a coincidence. That's just how. No. Okay, how much money did Avatar cost? Okay, look at this. This is from the first Avatar. This is from one of the first scenes in the first Avatar, where the Colonel here is briefing the new arrivals on the planet, including the main character whose name. Jake Sully, who you only just barely remember. Look at the fucking background. Okay? And I've had people legitimately try to tell me, well, that's not supposed to be an American flag. That's just how they designed the set. Avatar is like a $1 billion production. It's like an insanely expensive production. Every single one of these scenes and sets are carefully crafted to show you what they want to show you. And what they want to show you here is very specific. This is supposed to be... This is very... Like, and all of these characters have American accents. The Colonel has an American Southern accent. Like, that's because they're ragging on American imperialism, my dude. I'm a veteran, okay? I'm a veteran, and even me can look at this and go, yeah, we're kind of shitty like that. My own country is kind of shitty in that way. Okay? Avatar is It's calling attention to American imperialism. That's why there are Marines in the movie. Okay? There are Marines in the movie because that's how America does its imperialism. I was in the military. I'm a veteran, my dude. I was in the military. But even I can look at Avatar and say, I know what Avatar is trying to do. The military-industrial complex is out of control in America. It's out of control in America. Unobtainium in the first Avatar is very obviously oil, dude. Like, all of this is not even trying to be subtle. Unobtainium is oil. And that's what we did. We went to war in Iraq for oil. Like, that is factually what we did. We made up a reason to invade Iraq so that people would have access to oil. Or so that companies would have access to oil. It's the same thing. Like, the fact that people try to, like, write this off or don't understand this in Avatar is a pet peeve of mine. Okay? It's a pet peeve. It's okay to not like these movies. It is okay. But to try and say that they're not trying to make a very specific series of political points is an outright fallacy. It is completely, it's like you're blatantly ignoring the obvious symbolism in the movie. Okay, you're speaking facts about everything. I am American and a veteran. Okay, and even I can acknowledge that the military-industrial complex in this country is out of fucking control. And Avatar points that out too. The Marines in Avatar, other than maybe this colonel, are not portrayed as evil. They're not shown as evil. They're just following their orders. Who is evil in Avatar? Who is the real evil in Avatar? It's the rich people. Yeah, it's the corporation that is leveraging the Marines to do the bad thing, which I'm just gonna throw this on you right now, is what happens in real life. Okay? The corporations leverage the military to do their bidding through the engine of the state. And Avatar is showing this really obviously. It is not hard to see it. It is not hard to see it. I don't want to use the term deep state because that's a loaded term. All I mean is the super rich people who control everything, the oligarchs. Okay? All right. So I don't really know how we got here. I don't know how we got here on this rant about Avatar. It's okay to not like Avatar. It's okay. I understand that they're not the pinnacles of cinema. Okay? They're not absolute pinnacles of cinema. But I like Avatar personally. I personally like Avatar because I think the messages it's making are first very good and second very important. I think the Avatar 2 whaling scene is the best scene in the movie, even though I never want to watch it again. Watching it, I was like, God, this is the best scene in the movie. And the reason I thought that is because it was capable of getting an emotional reaction. I was emotionally reacting to that scene. That's how you tell a scene is good. Not by looking at it and going, wow, this is pretty CGI. It's when the hair stands up on your arm and you feel emotional about the scene that's happening. Like Avengers Endgame is not a great movie, and I don't really like Marvel all that much. But I think we all felt the hair stand up on our arms at the end. When Cap says who the fuck is it? Vulture? Who is it? Who the fuck is the flying guy? The black guy that flies. I don't know. I don't fucking know Marvel. When he says on your left at the end and they all start coming out of the portals in Falcon. There you go. I don't know Marvel. Who cares? Point is, they all start coming out of the portals to fight Thanos. Did you feel something in that scene? Did you feel something? Did something happen in here? That's how you tell if a scene is good at a movie. If something happens in here. If the something that happens is unpleasant, that's probably because the movie was trying to make you feel that way. And the whaling scene in Avatar is trying to make you feel that way. And it's doing a really good job. I did not see the recent Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't comment on that. I don't like Marvel. I don't like Marvel. Again, the point I'm trying to make is only about the Avatar movie. That you're supposed to feel angry. You're supposed to feel sad and angry during the whale scene. Okay? And at least for me, it worked really well. Okay? It worked real good. I was super angry. There's a Wild Talk is on Netflix called Dirty Money, talking about the super rich and how they control things and criminals. Yeah. Yup. Avatar at its core is a critique of capitalism. At its core. It's a critique of imperialism first and foremost. But imperialism is really just capitalism extended. It's extended capitalism. Again, it's okay if you don't like Avatar. I'm not trying to make anyone like Avatar here. I'm trying to get you to understand Avatar and to understand why it's written the way that it is. Do we understand that? That I'm not trying to... Lieberschnitzel. You understand I'm not trying to get you to change your opinion on Avatar, right? It's okay to not like it. Totally okay. But I think you should at least understand what it's trying to do. Okay? You should understand that it's trying to get you to care about the planet you live on. And I think that's an important message. And some people might find that annoying. Those people can go fuck themselves. Okay? Those people can go fuck themselves because they're part of the problem. The idea that we should be harvesting beautiful, incredible animals like whales for a profit margin, go and fuck yourself. Straight up, go and fuck yourself. Check out the movie Mother. I'll have to take a look at it. I have not seen it. I personally like Avatar. I understand they're not paragons of cinema, but I personally really like them. Okay? I don't know how those people sleep at night. On pillows of gold. Or on pillows of dollar bills. All they care about is money. Those people are soulless and only care about money and increasing the amount of money that they have. Theater Review Tuesdays. To be clear, I watch a lot of movies, okay? I watch a lot of movies. Media analysis is very important to me. I like sitting down and looking at a movie and saying, what is that movie trying to say to me? Like, I saw this really interesting indie movie over the weekend. I go to see a lot of movies. I saw, what was it called? Landscape Under Invisible Hand? I think it was Landscape Under Invisible Hand. Landscape with Invisible Hand. Landscape with Invisible Hand, excuse me. And this wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, to be clear. This wasn't the greatest movie I've ever seen. But I did think it's a little bit clumsy in making its point. I'm not going to go into it. But I go to see weird movies like this all the time because I like to sit there in the theater, and after the theater, I like the process of sitting down and being like, what was that movie trying to tell me? What was it trying to say to me? How was it trying to make me feel? Okay? Sound of Freedom is a nice movie. Highly recommend. Don't recommend QAnon shit in my chat. Weird movies would be the best movies out for a while. So the cool part about this movie is that an aliens invade. But it's like a benevolent invasion. Where they don't like kill all of us or like try to forcibly subjugate us directly. However, they've kind of just come in and like taken control of the entire economy. Like all of Earth's business billionaires like make deals with the aliens for their technology and stuff, and the technology makes basically all human jobs obsolete, so that income inequality goes absolutely fucking crazy. What's wrong with the Sounds of Freedom? I have not seen the Sound of Freedom, but I'm told it's a QAnon adjacent piece of garbage. I'm told that the guy it's based on is basically a QAnon supporter, and the movie was an extremely wildly inaccurate mention. an accurate like representation of what this guy has actually done. I have not seen the actual movie. I've just heard the buzz about it. I've heard it's a bad movie, and I've heard it's QAnon adjacent. So yeah. Anyway, so the way this works is the aliens control everything, like through the economy. Like income inequality is terrible. No one can make any money except for the super rich people. And two teenagers, the aliens don't have a concept of love. They reproduce asexually, so they don't know what love is. Love is like a foreign, exotic, weird concept that's specific to humans for them. So they are really interested in it, and two teenagers decide that they can make a ton of money by like live streaming their relationship, like just their romance, and it just kind of goes from there. They start making a ton of money from live streaming to the aliens. And because they're making money off of it, they try to like, when they have problems in the relationship, they try to pretend that they don't have problems and stuff, and it produces drama. It's an interesting, weird movie. I liked it. I didn't think it was perfect. I definitely saw, there's definitely flaws. But I did think this is the kind of movie I like to go see. I go to see weird-ass movies like this all the time, okay? And I like sitting down and saying to myself, what was that movie trying to get me to feel like? What was it trying to get me to think about? That's just what I like to do in my spare time. Clay69, some Chinese characters that I'm afraid I can't pronounce, and Patrician, thanks for the follows. Watch Talk to Me? Already did. I saw Talk to Me. Good movie. I liked it. Scary at times. Talk to Me was real good. Have you watched District B13? No. Can greedy people be in love? They're not greedy. They're just trying to make... You don't understand. Their families don't make any money. Their families are bankrupt. They can't get any jobs because there are no jobs because the alien technology has made most jobs obsolete. So they can't get any jobs. They're poor. Like, they're just trying to make ends meet. They're not greedy. They're just trying to put food on the table. Have you watched Don't Look Up? I have not, because I mostly think that it's going to make me very sad. And make me doomer even more than I already doomer. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I like to do in my spare time. Avatar is not one of those weird, little-known movies, obviously. But I was just trying to get you to understand Avatar a little bit better. Avatar is not like doing some kind of weird subliminal thing that you have to like think about for a long time. Avatar is very on its sleeves with what it's actually one of the ways in which I would criticize Avatar is that it's too on the nose. It's a little too on the nose with its symbolism. It's too close. Okay, it gets too close to what it's trying to say, to where it almost feels like it's beating you over the head with it. If you had that criticism of Avatar, I'd agree. I would feel beaten over. I feel beaten over the head by Avatar's message too. But part of that is intentional. Jurassic Park. I think you're talking about Jurassic Park, yeah. Again, I have not seen Sound of Freedom. I don't feel comfortable critiquing the movie if I have not seen it. I have not seen it. I've only just heard that it's QAnon adjacent, wildly inaccurate, and tries to glorify a piece of shit. That's what I've been told. You should do a movie review stream. I could think about that. If you guys really want to hear more of my movie takes, if you, I don't know, I don't really do movie reviews. I don't claim to be like fucking Roger Ebert or anything like that. I'm not trying to make a living on movie reviews. I just like to think about, I like to go see movies, and I like to think about the movies I watch. That's all it is. I'm a movie watcher. I'm a cinephile. I like to watch movies. Do Die Hard the Christmas special? Oh, God. We're not going to go into that again. We're not going into that again. You people are psychopaths. I want to hear you rant about Christopher Nolan. Listen, that's going to be a short rant, okay? I just don't think he's a very good director. I think he's overrated. I think Christopher Nolan is overrated, okay? Yeah, we can also we haven't done a resume review in a while. We should do resume reviews again soon too. I should review my own resume considering my company's layoffs recently Any good hacker movies? How about the movie Hackers? My favorite hacker movie is The Matrix, but that's not exactly a little known one. I do like Dunkirk. I like Dunkirk. But here's my problem. By the way, someone asked me if I'd seen Oppenheimer. I did see Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is good. It is good. It's quite good. The problem with Chris Nolan, one of the many problems with Chris Nolan, is that the audio is always fucking terrible. The audio is always mixed horribly in his movies, and I don't understand how it has never gotten fixed. In some of his movies, depending on the venue in which you see it, you can't even hear the dialogue over the ridiculously loud fucking soundtrack. Like in Oppenheimer, they're just standing around talking about fucking physics theory, and like the booming soundtrack is making it sound like something really intense is happening. Yeah, that's my impression that I get Mind Killer about Christopher Nolan. It seems like he has a really high impression of himself, and I just don't think his movies are all that great. Okay? Like, I just don't think they're definitely not bad in most cases, but I think their reach exceeds their bounds in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases, it's like the Christopher Nolan movies are trying to be the greatest, most importantest, smartest thing ever, and really, they're just not. I hate his depiction of Batman. I hate it. His depiction of Batman is objectively stupid, bad, and I don't like it. Okay? I don't like it. I could rant if we did a Christopher Nolan rant, 90% of it would be about how much I hate his Batman movies or his depiction of Batman movies. Okay? His take on Batman is objectively wrong and bad, and I hate it. Okay? It's wrong and bad, and it's harmful in some cases. I think it's openly harmful. Like, how do I even put this into words? They're propaganda. The Batman movies are propaganda. Okay? It's propaganda made to make you like cops. Okay? The Nolan Batman movie, in the Nolan Batman movies, Batman is just a cop. He's a cop that is unrestrained by the typical restraints that cops have. Like, you know, people's rights and stuff, right? So, like, the Nolan Batman movies are just porn for people who think that police should be completely unfettered and allowed to punch your fucking face in whenever they want. I really knew he wasn't Batman when the guy literally retired. Batman would never do that. He does. There is a whole arc about Batman coming back from retirement. That's not what I hate about it, though. I hate the politics of the movie are like vaguely fascist in a way that I really cannot abide. I don't hate The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight does have good aspects, and the good aspects all start and end with Heath Ledger. Okay, Heath Ledger is so good in The Dark Knight that when he's on screen, I almost forget that I'm watching a piece of garbage. Like, it's amazing. I feel like that with every Batman. Not every Batman is that way. But Batman is a shade fascist, honestly. Batman, even as his core, like, conception, is a shade fascist. It is. Okay? And it's okay. I love Batman. The fucking chair I'm sitting in is Batman themed. Fucking love Batman. Okay? But, you know, I put my media analysis hat on and go, how is this supposed to make me feel? Batman in these movies, especially and it's at its worst in the Nolan movies. By far, it's at its worst in the Nolan movies. Batman in other media often feels like, you know, he's got rules. He's doing his best. Like, yeah, he's a vigilante, but he's doing his best to do the right thing and stuff like that. But look at the end of The Dark Knight. Look at the end of The Dark Knight. How does The Dark Knight end? The Dark Knight ends by Batman unadulteratedly committing a murder. Okay, he murders, you could argue it's in self-defense, but he kills Two-Face at the end of The Dark Knight. Okay, and then it's Batman's idea, like, hey, so we don't besmirch the fine legacy of Harvey Dent, why don't we why don't you just blame those murders on me? He's literally saying, I'm a cop, and I'll just be the cop that does the and you can chase me and pretend, you can kind of half-heartedly chase me, but really I'm just gonna keep doing cop. I'm still gonna keep being a cop, but completely unfettered. Again, in the Nolan movies, he rides around in a literal tank. The Batmobile is a literal, actual, honest-to-fucking-God tank. And so when you go looking at when you look at the police rolling up and down the streets during peaceful protests in military surplus Humvees, like movies like Batman: The Dark Knight are producing that the feeling in the general public consciousness that kind of thing is okay. Who watched Barbie? Truly a disappointment, and I wasn't missing much. I like Barbie. I do think Barbie does have flaws. I think Barbie does have flaws. At its core, understand that Barbie is a toy movie. It's a movie that's designed to get you to buy toys, okay? Please understand that. So at its core, at the absolute best, Barbie is like rainbow capitalism. Like, it's trying to appear that it's all progressive, but in reality, it's just trying to get you to spend money on their products, okay? So at its core, there's some rainbow capitalism happening with Barbie. Barbie also does have the problem where it really beats you over the head with its premise a little bit too much. But I really liked Barbie. I unironically did like Barbie. I thought it was funny. I thought it subverted my expectations in that I wasn't expecting it to be as funny and interesting as it was. I liked Barbie. I did like Barbie. But I agree it does have flaws. Is already talking about making more movies about their toys because of the success of Barbie? Yeah. That was the point of it. Like, it was a toy movie at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's not a feminist movie. It's a toy movie that is trying to look feminist to sell you toys. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. Like, the message of Barbie overall, I think, was pretty good. But I can understand if you didn't like it. That's okay. Since when Ken discovered the patriarchy, that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. Like, it was honestly really funny how the patriarchy went. I thought that was pretty funny. Again, they kind of beat you over the head with their message. That's okay, though. I'm okay with it. Man, we kept talking for a long fucking time. I actually need to report. I need to do my report, chat. Who are we actually rating? We have to decide on who we're rating. Yeah, rants for 45 minutes. I know. It's... Yeah. What is BreakSec even doing? What is this? He's doing some stuff. I don't know. I love the rants. I mean, I rarely have a chance to rant about anyone except for my cat. No, it's okay. If you guys did you guys like the rant? It's okay if you think my takes are bad, by the way. I have a thick skin, okay? You can say I'm wrong. I'm not going to ban you. I'm not going to ban you from chat. You can say I'm wrong. You can say that I'm off base. You can say I'm just flat out wrong, okay? I'm just giving you my thoughts on movies, since you asked. Well, you guys didn't ask about Avatar, but you did ask about all the rest. Your wrong takes are bad, biased. I agree. That's fine. They're definitely biased. Like, obviously my opinions are biased. No way. Imagine having biased opinions, chat. Again, you can absolutely disagree with me on my takes. It's totally fine. I'm not going to get mad at you. Again, my point with you, Lieberschnitzel, is not to say you must like Avatar. My point was simply to say you said specifically that you didn't like the whale scene. And, like, yeah, you weren't supposed to like the whale scene. You were supposed to look at the whale scene and go, that's the grossest thing I've ever seen in a long time. I still hate the fucking whale scene. That's okay. You're supposed to hate it. I went to go see Avatar 2 twice, and I barely wanted to... I considered stepping out of the theater for the whale scene. That's not a joke. I did consider of stepping it out. It wasn't because of how it made me feel. Okay, you had some problems with the subtitles. That's fine. I don't really know what issue did you have with the subtitles? Remind me to not get in a rant with you. I do tend to rant. That is a thing that I do. All right, I guess we're going to raid BreakSec. What didn't you like about the subtitles? I didn't have a problem with the subtitles, but then again, I didn't see it with subtitles. I just saw it in its native language. He hates reading. It's like, damn, this is sad, and then boom, fucking subtitles. I don't even remember there being subtitles, honestly. I remember that particular scene being ruinously effective at trying to convey what it was trying to convey. Again, that makes it the best scene in the movie. As far as crafting is concerned, I think that scene is the best scene in the movie. Like, how well it was made. All right, so we're rating BreakSec. I don't know what he's doing. He's talking about InfoSec in some way. I like to support the InfoSec people more than I talk about paleontology, more than I support other people, even Dino Dan paleontologizing. Favorite movie of all time is The Nightmare Before Christmas. There's no movie that exists that brings me as, to be clear, that's not me saying that I think the best movie ever made is The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's my favorite movie of all time, because there's no movie that to this day brings me as much unadulterated joy while I'm watching it as The Nightmare Before Christmas. I genuinely adore. No! I said no more Nightmare Before Christmas. No Nightmare Before Christmas. None. Zero. Thank you. My apartment looks like a hot topic. Please stop.
I have it clipped.
34 months. Thank you. Blue, by the way, Blue Squadron is my brother, my actual honest-to-God real-life brother. He's a streamer too. Check him out. Go to bed tonight, know a little more than you did yesterday. See you guys again when the stars are right. Have a good night. Stay safe.